Who is the best linebacker in college football? Is it Harold Perkins? Is it Danny Stutsman? Adbul Carter? We're going to give you the answer to that coming up on today's episode.
And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say it
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. DeLeone, Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. Today we are talking the top 5 linebackers returning in college football, as well as some thoughts on Gabe Kapler's recent thirst trap video. Who would have thought that we're talking about that on today's show? A lot of good takes coming with that. And then a very overwhelming challenge that I'm going to try and overtake next weekend. I'm actually going to follow through with this one. That coming up and more. Sean, can you share with a quick word with our listeners from our friends over at BetOnline?
I'd love to. I have another challenge I have to ask you about later in the show also. But
no, you don't.
BetOnline is the number one source for the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Finals this season. And if Joe doesn't finish this challenge, I don't know if I can listen to him talk about gambling. Regardless, every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. I was watching a game be played between the Mavericks and the Celtics, and it didn't seem very competitive for the first half or the second half. Show some pride, Dallas, you cowards. Would you show some pride on Sunday? They were so weak.
Sounds like I know who you bet on.
Yeah, no kidding. And you know what? When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Fix it, Cam. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV for 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online. The game starts here. Here's what I'll say.
What
feels like 4 days in between NBA championship games is criminal. It's terrible because it's looking like Boston's going to be
one of the worst schedules in sports that they do this. I don't know if the Stanley Cup is spaced out, but I was saying this the other day that what a misfire putting the first game on a Thursday and then the second game on a Sunday. You had 2 shots there, 2 shots to get them on 2 good weekend nights.
It should have been Thursday, Saturday. Cool. People enjoy their Friday night, no NBA. Come back next week with a Monday or Tuesday banger, and then let's get rolling from there. Start the week off, and it's so slow. And if it's a bad series like what it's looking like right now, and I'm holding faith for Dallas, and I know we're talking linebackers soon, but I'm holding faith, but it's a 4-game sweep, and we're looking at just what we burned 2 weeks on 4 games with nothing. Gross.
We don't have a single game that's on a Saturday. We've got Sunday, June 9th, Wednesday, June 12th, Friday, June 14th, Monday, June 17th, Thursday, June 20th, and then Sunday, June 23rd is game 7. Probably one of the worst. I don't get this. Maybe I'm off base thinking that the NBA Finals were a bit more effectively scheduled than this in the past.
I'll say this also. And I haven't thought about it till now. Nobody wants to watch sports on a Wednesday. We haven't been trained for that. We've been trained for Thursdays with Thursday Night Football. Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday, and Thursday. You can play on those games. Tuesday, I'm not going to be mad at it. Wednesday, come on, man. I'm in the middle of my week. People don't have energy to go and tap into a huge NBA Finals game on a Wednesday night. And you're not saving them for the midweek blur. Monday you get juice because you're dreading work, but then that night you get NBA Finals. Or Tuesday it's like, oh, you could talk about the game on Monday, Tuesday. You can't talk about some stupid finals game for 3 days at work before watching it on Wednesday. And the next time you get to talk about games again is Monday. Stupid, shoddy craftsmanship of this schedule.
The Stanley Cup's a little bit better, and then I'm going to get us to linebackers in a second, but we've got a game tomorrow, then we're Thursday, Saturday. That's the perfect timing, I think, for me, because you're late in the middle of the week, and then you get a Saturday game, and then you got a Tuesday, Friday. That's not that bad, and then the last one's on June 24th, which I think is a Monday. But still, I don't know. Yeah, very, very poorly scheduled, just like the College Football National Championship being on a Monday, being very, very stupid. But, Sean, we are here to talk about the best linebackers returning in college football. There's a lot of really good football players coming back at that position. It's going to be much better than last year, in my opinion. We've got some freaky athletes, guys like Harold Perkins, guys like Anthony Hill Jr., Danny Stutsman's a pretty good athlete, too, that we're going to get to today. I'm going to start us off, as we always do. We alternate, we go back and forth. My number 5 guy, Smile Munden from Georgia. I think that last year, Georgia flexed to us that they had such incredible depth at the linebacker position. Jamon Dumas-Johnson goes down with an injury. Other guys cycle in. They're able to have some ridiculous production and quality of play at that position. But I really think that Smile Munden, his production, his impact, his role within that defense stands out on a snap-to-snap basis. I have not graded him yet for the 2025 NFL Draft, but I recall in watching him last summer for the 2024 summer scouting series that I did, that I was very impressed. Good athlete, pretty good instincts, and I think is somebody who could take a huge step this upcoming year, already playing on a defense that has notoriously produced some of the best linebackers in the country to go on to dominate in the NFL.
I don't mind it. I don't mind a Georgia linebacker being on here. They have a good scheme. They produce very athletic, hard-hitting linebackers that take a leadership role on defense very seriously. So I'm not going to cast any shade on that. Some parallel thinking here. I actually had Jason Dumas-Johnson as my number 5. I know he's Kentucky. I love his burst. He wants to be a part of the chaos, and I think that translates over to Smile also. It's a Georgia thing, getting a part of that chaos. Whether you're blitzing, causing havoc at the line of scrimmage, coverage. I really like Dumas-Johnson in coverage. He is not that big when you're watching him on film, but he can cover his ass off. He's fine taking blocks. He doesn't get totally swallowed up, but he will get blocked if it's a big meaty guard. Other than that, if it's anybody carrying the ball, it's like a heat-seeking missile coming after you. Good luck. I'm cool with trading off on 2 Georgia linebackers here. I think there could have been a couple more in the rotation at the 5 spot also.
I really like Dumas-Johnson. He probably was one of those guys that's just on the outside for me. He was somebody who, again, referring back to 2024 summer scouting, that I really liked. He fits not only the prototype of the type of guy that you want playing that Mike role, but he also has the shades of the traits in the athleticism that you need for a guy to succeed in the modern version of college football and NFL. He can move, but he's also got the frame to thump and to really hit. I really like Jamon Dumas-Johnson. I think that Kentucky got a serious steal based on that situation because of what had happened with him getting an injury. And then, the guys that stepped up, the one kid who filled in for him, I'm looking up really quickly.
Was it Walker?
He was a freshman. No. It was CJ Allen. CJ Allen, who was a freshman last year, stepped up and played his ass off. And I think that CJ Allen, just a quick look ahead, we're probably going to be talking about him in a couple of seasons, if not maybe next offseason on this list. My number 4, Danny Stutsman from Oklahoma. 6'4", 240 pounds, huge kid. Last year, he had 104 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. He, to me, good athlete. A couple things that I think he needs to work on. But he fits the type of leader that you look for in a linebacker on a defense. And you can really tell that he is the heartbeat of that Oklahoma defense. Like he is just an all-time vibes guy. The way that he acts on social media, the way that he acts on the field. I really got juiced up by him, the way that he played against Texas during the Red River rivalry. That was really freaking fun. You can't have one of these lists and not have Danny Stutsman on it. Just plain and simple.
I agree. My number 1 key for Stutsman to work on in the offseason is to get a better looking helmet. I was not a fan of that.
You don't like his?
I'm not a fan of that new age bulbous helmet stuck on top of his
those
dome.
Are great.
I don't like it in the pros with Zeke. I don't like it in college. Doesn't matter. The helmet is a small quibble for me because Stutsman is my number 1. He was my favorite.
Oh,
It really wasn't even that close for me. Watching Stutsman, there was some pop on the film. I'm not kidding. He was my one, and everyone else good. Stutsman does everything I want a linebacker to do. Long, rangy. You don't think he can cover sideline to sideline as well as he does, but he's tall. He's like 6'4" listed, so he's probably 6'3", 6'2 and a half. Not bad height there. Strong, thumper, can cover a tight end. I'm a big fan of his game. He is my number one, and I think there is a gap between 1 and the 2 to 5 for me.
Well, one's probably just like a little. Wow, really? You saying that there's that much of a gap? That's like a little too rich for my blood. A little too aggressive.
That's fine, but when I'm watching all these other guys, I'm not getting the gut feeling that I am from Stutsman. And I've given these dudes. I gave him plenty of chance. But if I'm not selling myself on it, how could I sell someone else on him? So he's my main sell here.
Because that means to me that you've got somebody in particular. There's a certain player that should have at least been close behind Stutsman if you didn't have him as your number
one. Sure, he'll be close enough.
No, I'm disappointed with you deciding to do that. Who's your number 4?
Speak of the devil, what an email to get after the pre-show conversation. My number 4, Jay Higgins, Iowa.
Wait, was it from Cam Rogers?
No, just a signature request. So, regardless, Jay Higgins, Iowa was my number 4. He had 171 tackles last year. One more time for the people in the back. 171 tackles. Iowa was Iowa last year. They were on defense a lot because the offense was terrible. More opportunities to get tackles for Mr. Higgins. I understand that. The defense was also good, though. We can't take away from that. And who leads the defense, Joe? The linebacker, Jay Higgins, does. And you know what he does when he's leading the defense with the terrible offense? 171 tackles. Impact player. I have to give credit for that. I do. If you want Foye Oluokun on your team, NFL, it's Jay Higgins. All right? He's not gonna flash. I don't think he's gonna end up all Pro Bowl. But he's going to lead the team in tackles. He could lead the NFL in tackles, and just be there, be the vacuum where all the defense is pushing the ball towards you. Close on the tackle. That's what Higgins does.
I'm really perplexed by some of the directions you're going in on this list. I mean, he's a fine football player.
I have to credit 171. I have to credit that.
That is a lot of freaking tackles.
It's a number that I cannot. If somebody threw for 5,000 yards last year, they would be on my top 5. I would have to acknowledge and respect.
Well, it's like saying, like, would have Bailey Zappi that year been a top 5 quarterback?
He might have been my 5. He might have been in my top 5. He's still in the NFL. Who would have thought? I'm telling you, it might shake out.
He's barely
in that top 5 from that class if he floats around.
Did you have Jason Henderson on your list?
Jason Henderson, not on my list.
The ODU kid? Okay. Ryan's going to be sad that we didn't put Jason Henderson on.
I know, he had a very good
year. Little white linebacker who has 1 million tackles. That's like Ryan Roberts' dream if he was that kid. My number 3 was Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas. There's a little bit of projection on this one. He was extremely highly recruited. I remember watching his tape coming out of Denton, Texas. He played at Ryan High School. Very good football roots where he's coming from. Ridiculous athlete. 6'3", 243 is what he's listed at. He was probably a little bit leaner during the season last year, but my guy can fly. Like, he flies all over the field. A lot of times with freshman linebackers, not all of them can be like CJ Allen where they make a really high impact. A lot of them, for the most part, are still figuring out how to read things around them. So that was how he was deployed. He was deployed as an athlete. He was deployed kind of like Harold Perkins was a couple of years ago and said, hey, Anthony, go out there, wreak havoc, make plays. They rushed him off the edge. He was just so tangibly disruptive on a snap-to-snap basis, and he gave Caden Proctor some business in that Alabama game. He's supposed to be playing Will Backer this year, but I'm sure that they're going to use him as a rusher and as a blitzer as much as they can because they know that he's so freaking fast. Last season, despite still learning how to play the college game, had 67 total tackles, 5 sacks, and 8 tackles for loss with 5 pass breakups and 1 forced fumble. I think that now that he's had an off season behind him and he's been a part of the football program and that he saw what it takes for a team to get to the college football playoff, that he is going to get even better this year, and he will be the heartbeat of that Texas defense in 2024.
The linebacker wearing 0, it's a clean look. He's too strong to be this young in college. He's impressive. I'm not with it. If you have a gut play on supreme athlete playing linebacker, I'm not going to get too angry about it. You're selling me. I'll keep my eye out on him. My number 3, Barrett Carter from Clemson, makes sense for me. I think he has to be on it. Clemson always has a guy. Well, no. Clemson always has a machine on that defense that plays linebacker in some number with some helmet, and you're pretty sure they're human. Barrett Carter fills that role. They're not, these Clemson linebackers, they're not that fluid. They're not that they're bendy. They're stout. They're thick, heavy, muscular linebackers. And that's what they do. They're fundamental. They're so fundamental that they don't always pop out at you when you're watching them. Oh, he's not that tall. He's not that long. What does he do? He makes the tackle. What does he do? He makes the PBU. That's what you get with a Clemson linebacker. He's a couple degrees away from becoming very dangerous, just like Clemson. I think they fit with each other. If Clemson was in the not in the ACC, we'll see if he improved or if he just was dealing with a bunch of ACC teams last year. Regardless, I saw enough good instinct from him and good read direction, make the play from him where it warranted a number 3 on my list.
All right, my number, he didn't make my list. Barrett Carter was not on my list. He was right on the outside. Very, 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 very good athlete. Ryan loves him. I keep bringing up Ryan. I don't know why I keep doing that today. It's linebackers, so I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of responses from him. There's going to be a lot of commentary from him because it's linebackers. But Barrett Carter, clearly the best player on that defense. I know that the NFL really likes him. He flies all over the field, so you can't go wrong putting him in there. My number 2. This one's a little tricky because last year he was playing linebacker. He's supposed to be playing defensive end this year.
Oh, God. Yeah.
A little bit confusing on where I want to put him. I kind of missed out putting him in my defensive line list, but I included Adbul Carter from Penn State with my linebacker list number 2. Really good athlete. Big, strong kid, 6'3", 250. Why are you making noises?
I thought you were going with Oliver instead of Carter.
Oliver?
From Oklahoma State. Colin Oliver, or whatever his name is.
Oh, no. Was he on your list?
No, but he was dabbling between edge and then linebacker. His hand was in the dirt too much for me to be putting him on the linebacker position, but I guess Joe is making his own rules, as Adbul Carter is great with his hand in the dirt. Go ahead. Go ahead. If I knew he was if I knew he was a play, he would not have been. Stutsman is not my number 1. Adbul Carter's my number 1. This is a crazy play.
I don't know. It's not a crazy play because it's just the lines are blurred a little bit with this kid because, again, he's supposed to be playing defensive end, but last year he was playing off-ball linebacker. And despite him, I think he's better at linebacker. I don't know if he's going to be a better defensive end. I'm a little bit
I don't think so.
up by this.
I think linebackers in college are better at defensive end. The more that I see these coaches try to push these guys back at linebacker instead of just putting them on the edge with their hand in the dirt, it's perplexing to me. I will have gripes about Harold Perkins. I will have gripes about Adbul Carter and these guys that should be coming off of the edge. If they're better at one of these 2 positions, you should play them at the position where they're better.
Regardless, 5.5 tackles for loss last year, 4.5 sacks, 49 total tackles. Again, he was playing off-ball linebacker, but I just consider him to be a really good defensive player. He's just a really bright, brilliant defensive player that just is going to naturally find ways to impact the game no matter what spot he's playing at. That's it for me. I don't want to overcomplicate it. Last year he was playing linebacker, so I'm sticking him on my linebacker list. That's how I'm doing it.
That's fine. I think it's a great pick. I think Adbul Carter is a great player. Just so physical. The last couple years, him on that defense, there have been a lot of hearts on the team, and they've had a lot of really good dudes that played for them and in the pros. And Adbul Carter is probably still my favorite to have watched. More than Robinson, more than Porter Jr., more than the I know there's one more that I'm forgetting, but I'm happy with that. I didn't know that we had a joker
Micah
position.
Parsons.
Now, after Parsons, Dietrich, I didn't know we had a joker position that we could just throw in here. It's fine though.
Okay,
Everyone plays
linebackers.
spades
The term
differently. That's
linebacker
fine.
is an ambiguous word. Okay, it's
Oh,
a
now
very,
it's-
very ambiguous word. It's an ambiguous word. So it is one of the few positions where I would argue you can't really go wrong where you're putting a guy. He was a off-ball linebacker last year. I don't know for certain if it's easy to assume that he's purely just going to be playing defensive end this year, if he's going to be more of just like a stand-up rusher. We don't know the exact role that he's going to be playing. So he needed to be included, and he's a linebacker, or was a linebacker.
That's fine. You know what? The top 5 ambiguous defensive players list, which is what I would like to title the episode, that fits my number 2 guy, and that's Harold Perkins. Sure. That's
a hack.
I'm sure I'm a hack. I'm waiting on it. Feels like LSU.
You said that
I'm waiting on it.
there was a gap, a massive gap between him and Danny Stutsman.
I said there was a gap.
True.
I said there was a gap. What does he do? What does Perkins do? He should be on the line. He's not.
He makes plays. He's going to
Recovering.
be playing all. Okay, we know he's going to be playing Will Backer this year.
Okay.
We know that he's my number 1, by the way, just, full disclosure here. He's going to be playing Will Backer. Watching him play, you can't tell me that this kid's not going to figure it out pretty quickly.
He's
he
too
is
hybrid.
very
No,
naturally decisive.
No, he's too hybrid. Similar to Isaiah Simmons. Too hybrid doesn't always equate. He feels like LSU himself, incarnate. They have so many moments that show greatness and fun. And then when they figure out a way to make your conscience snap you out of it. There's some way where LSU and Harold Perkins, when you're watching, you're like, oh, I'm ready for it. Give me the full experience. Let's go. Be the year. Be fun this year. And then it's, I wanted more. Harold Perkins leaves me wanting more. Not a bad thing, but that means he's being used improperly. And if he's being used improperly and such a good talent at such a good school, where is it? Why hasn't he been the top defensive player every single year? He should be. I've seen this.
Because last year, Sean, he was playing overhang. He was playing fucking safety last year for LSU, basically. He was playing overhang.
So
he's not
putting
an
him at
overhang.
will,
He's a will linebacker.
He's
not an edge rusher.
I'll see it get fixed when it gets fixed. I thought he was an edge rusher. I liked him as an edge rusher. I don't like him that much as a backer.
He's too small to be an edge rusher. He's 6'1", 220 pounds.
God, that's not too
He was
small.
just running past guys. That was the reason why he had sack production.
Well,
over
if
the
you
last
can
2
run
years.
past guys, then you run past guys.
Okay, you're telling me that will linebacker, which is a position that is predicated on being cleanup, being the fastest linebacker of the interior linebackers, and also being decisive and knowing how to read traffic. He showed us that playing a position that he's not supposed to be playing because Matt House was a moron and didn't know how to use him. Baker is going to know how to actually use him.
You just said it. Didn't know how to use him. These are college coaches.
Because he's a bad defensive coordinator. He got fired for a reason.
Hybrid. He's too athletic for these dummies to make a decision.
He's not hybrid. He's not hybrid.
They will move him around.
Bad coaches can make bad decisions, Sean.
I'm just saying, I've seen this story, man. There are these dudes that start playing college football and no commit coach wants to commit them to learning a position so then they never fully develop as defensive player as they should. I've seen it. It'll continue to happen. These gifted athletes will get pigeonholed by a coward coach and they will never fully develop into defensive players.
Well, he's got a new defense. He's got a new defense.
One of those. I mentioned Isaiah Simmons. Harold Perkins is in this group for me. Guys that should be world records everywhere on the field, dominating all pro.
But he was playing a position that he's not built to play, and he still was.
I'm just saying. This is my preseason top 5. I'm hoping he's number 1 next year because they figured it out.
Well, he's not going to be on the list next year. He's going to be in the NFL.
Oh, well, let's see. I'm sure they'll know how to use him. Give me a break. You remember this. He's too hybrid for it, brother.
Speaking of terrible things like Sean's list, your number 1 was Danny Stutsman, just to reiterate.
Yeah.
And also anyone in the comments, I am not an LSU fan. I'm just purely wearing the hat. Pure coincidence that it was during the linebacker show. Speaking of terrible things, though, Gabe Kapler, who is known as probably the most attractive manager in baseball for a very long period of time with the San Francisco Giants, which there's not a lot of competition for that. There's really not. You've got Joe Madden and Terry Francona, who are a million years old that he was competing with.
He's off a Tito. But yeah, baseball, normally it's the players, baseball players, sharp chins, athletes. Some of them look like normal good looking athletes. Not normally the managers who are in full uniform on the sideline, tucked in pants, manager gut. That's normally what we're seeing.
He was, I didn't know this. He was born in Los Angeles. That's interesting. So he was most recently the Giants manager.
Yes.
I don't know what his current role is. I know he's involved with the Marlins, but so he posted this video on his TikTok for a long time. Female baseball fans spoke a lot about Gabe Kapler and his appearance. He was very often brought up for being very attractive, obviously. So he posts this video. Everyone's losing their mind the other day because Marlins stink. He's a part of the Marlins organization. He's posting these weird, cringy videos. I don't think they're cringy. It was him doing some sort of thirst trap type thing where he's rolling up his sleeves. I'm not going to drop it into the edit. If you're on Twitter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I think it's pretty cool that he's doing it. I think that if you've got it, you should flex it. And if he's not a manager right now, there's other ways that he can continue to grow his brand. Being a whore is a great way to grow your brand. And I think that he should have been doing that earlier than he's doing it right now.
It's such a mistake. How do you go to practice in a professional sport and take coaching from a guy that was doing get ready with me TikToks, showing off his hand tattoo, and in a tight black shirt in a pretty feminine room? How are you going to go say, get closer to the plate in the box? How do you listen to that? You can't. You can't say, hey, you're the one telling me I need to start, leaning into pitches on 2-1 and 98 right in my back. No, not doing it. It's a terrible look. The Marlins continue to bring in talent and have a mess organizationally. It was Jeter that they had in there. I think it was either Jeter and ownership. They had Bonds as a coach. Kapler's in there now. They had
he's a assistant GM, by the way, for clarification.
That's fine. He wants to be a sleek athlete finance bro, and it's a new model. It's the finance bro in athletics, and these managers and GMs and coaches, and we're seeing it in football. This is the trend. They're trying to become sleek, follow that Sean McVay trend, except they're not all Sean McVay. Some of them are tall. Some of them have a big chest. Some of them are doing thirst traps like Gabe Kapler in the middle of the day.
I'm trying to think who in the NFL should be doing this. I think that Matt LaFleur should be doing this. Again, if any of these leagues were smart, they would be encouraging the coaches and front office individuals, the managers, whatever it might be, the ones that are whores, they would be encouraging them to do stuff like this, because then this was easy exposure for a Marlins team that nobody was talking about. They're 20 games below 500. They're 21 and 41.
For Gabe Kapler and what he's got in his britches. It's not an exposure of what the Marlins are putting out in the 7th inning on the mound during a pitch.
There's a new demo interested in baseball, man.
No, this is not not pro baseball. It's not pro Marlins. It's pro Gabe Kapler, and I'm anti Gabe Kapler.
Kevin Stefanski, Matt LaFleur. Who am I missing here?
Stefanski could.
Marcus Freeman could totally be doing it, but I think he's too much of a family man.
Who could be? Come on. I'd love to see Doug Peterson getting in on this. I'm a big fan of him.
Doug Peterson.
I don't think he would fit.
No, you can't pick the dad vibe guys. You can't do that.
That's who I would want to see.
Guys.
That's why I. Okay. Let's go with the tree. You want to see Kingsbury doing this? Kingsbury was doing this. Kingsbury invented this.
Kingsbury,
the draft war room.
For me.
I'm sure he doesn't. He set the trend. Kingsbury did ruin.
But he wasn't doing the thirst trap videos. He wasn't doing anything.
He was doing the thirst trap pictures. Look at me in my sweet house looking at the draft with no socks on. I'm with you. I get it. But he set the trend, left everyone else here to burn while he went off to Thailand. So that was his movement and his motion. We're not going to ever get as quirked up as Kingsbury. So these imitation artists like Gabe Kapler will not get the respect from me.
Wonder if we could get like Brian Daboll to do it.
I wouldn't mind seeing Daboll do it.
If anyone had a good sense of humor,
I wouldn't mind seeing every NFL coach do this. They're the most entertaining.
Again, if I am in social media marketing with the NFL, or I run social for the Chargers social media account. The social team always puts out great stuff. If they had a sense of humor, which they do, and they were creative, they would get Jim Harbaugh to recreate this video.
That'd be stellar. Yeah, Harbaugh would be great. And there's coaches that want to do this, that are like, oh, I think I could do this. Maybe let me. There's coaches that have tried. I think there's coaches that have definitely tried. Shanahan's definitely thought about it.
I don't know if Shanahan's got that kind of juice.
Ryan Day wants to do it. Ryan Day wants to
Ryan Day does not have the juice to pull
I'm not
this
saying
off.
he does, but he thinks he does.
He does not have the juice to pull it. He probably does with his dyed beard.
Do you think Kapler has juice?
Yes. Oh. You don't think that Kapler has juice?
No. I think Kapler is fraudulent from his head down to that rose tattoo on his hand. I think it is all...
I wish you had the juice that Gabe.
I think Kapler is maybe the most. It's not. He is not interested in baseball. He can't be. This is not indicative of being interested in baseball.
He could have very easily, and I think this is what he's realizing. I think maybe you're right. He's realizing he's not really cut out for the GM thing because the team's terrible, and I think that he realizes if he posts enough thirst traps at his age, there will be some wealthy divorcee that will come sliding into his DMs. That's all he needs. That's all you need if you're Gabe Kapler. You made some decent money managing and playing.
Oh, you think he's going to be linking up with Jeannie Buss and he's going to be the new co-owner?
No. That's too outside. That's too outside of his age range. Let's see how old he is really quickly. He's 48. Okay, so wait, how old is Jeannie Buss? Jeannie Buss is like 70.
62.
Oh, she's a lot young. I forget how old she is because she dated Phil Jackson, and I forget that there was such an age gap between the two of them.
Jeannie looks good for 62.
Yeah, I mean, that's
tell me otherwise.
Jeannie Buss and Gabe Kapler. I don't know if she's married or seeing anybody.
That's not the best.
How do we make this happen? Do you know anyone in
I didn't know
camp?
No, I don't know anybody in Buss's camp. No. What kind of question is that? You kidding me? You're in LA. You had the opportunity.
Yeah, I'll go knock on the door and say, "Hey, do you want to date Gabe Kapler?"
I think I just saw Joe Pantaloni's assistant in this Starbucks. LA's awesome. Okay, Joe. Oh, I saw Goldblum at lunch. All right. Have you met Jeannie Buss?
Have I ever done that? You
told me that.
You're acting like I've done that to you before.
Yeah, you've sent me the text messages, all the famous people you run into.
When?
Early on, when you first moved out there.
That's happened to me like 3 times.
Yeah, I know. You made the most of it.
All right, last thing that I want to get to before we wrap up. So I came in last place in my fantasy football league 2 years ago.
Okay.
I was a victim of the DeMar Hamlin situation, causing me to come in last place. I'm not going to elaborate. I'm sure that you could. I had Joe Burrow, I had Jamar Chase in a game that was very narrow that I would have won, but I didn't get the points for those guys. So I agreed, and there was some negotiation on what my punishment would be. There also, the year before me, the person was given the Waffle House challenge. They never did it until this past Saturday, and they accomplished it. And I'm going to explain the iteration of the Waffle House challenge that they did, but they accomplished it. So after this person in my league completed the challenge, it was then brought up that I needed to complete mine. I agreed that I would do the same exact challenge that was completed by my friend yesterday. And what that is instead of the Waffle House challenge, Sean, it is a McDonald's challenge. Same concept, except there's a long menu that was put together by one of my friends who worked in finance. If you can't tell by the spreadsheet that I shared with you, that breaks down what combinations of certain things shave off time. Those who are completely unfamiliar with this concept, you have to stay in the venue for 24 hours. And then if you eat a certain number of things, it will cut down the amount of time that you have to stay there. So if you are aggressive, you eat the right amount of food, you can get out of there in some pretty good time. I have a strategy and how I'm going to accomplish this. Okay. I'm going to record this. I'm going to do this next Saturday. Do you have the spreadsheet that I sent you?
I'm looking. I'm looking at it now.
Okay. So, for example, some of the food items that I can consume that will cut down time for me. A double quarter pounder with cheese takes off an hour. A big breakfast with hotcakes takes off 2 hours if I consume one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Big Mac is only 45 minutes. Chicken nuggets, 10 pieces, 45 minutes. Here's the strategy that is going to get me out of there in less than, I have an ongoing bet. I think I can get in and out of there in 9 hours. I'm going to, as soon as I walk in the door, consume 4 big breakfasts with hotcakes. That takes 8 hours off the day. If I can house that, and it's like 4,000 calories or like 5,000 calories, if I can house that and then chill for a couple of hours, have a coffee, take a dump, then around noon, okay, I buy 100 chicken nuggets and I just eat them.
No.
And I just keep eating them until I'm done and I come down on my time. What are you shaking your head? You don't think this is going to work?
No, you are out of your element here. You're not. You're
What do you
getting
mean?
getting baited. You are getting baited by the 2 hour big. But I love the breakdown is here that I get to see the time allotment. I agree with a lot of it.
Yeah.
Regular sandwiches, like the regular handheld McMuffin, McDouble, whatever. That's in the 30 to an hour range. It should be. You know, it should hurt. Joe, you have to do 4 hash browns right off the get-go. You can't eat 4 hash browns. That knocks off an hour right there. Or actually,
wait.
You could almost knock out 2 hours with 4 hash browns. That's 100 minutes. 100 minutes, 4 hash browns.
That's actually a really good idea.
These are
you bring up a very good point.
You're getting baited. You can't get baited by all this. You need something sweet to offset, or else you're going to get upset. What's just below that? Fruit and maple oatmeal. Let me just change it up. 100 chicken nuggets. You could never. What kind of?
You think I couldn't eat 100 chicken nuggets?
I wouldn't do 3 orders of the apple slices and get another hour knocked off. I don't think you could do 100.
The apple slices are deceptive. I think
you have to really.
I think I could do 100 chicken. You and I did it for the Super Bowl. Don't you remember we did that?
I did it
during.
I ate those Burger King nuggets.
No, you didn't. You ate. No, you didn't eat any of the goddamn nuggets. You bought like 6 sandwiches and you sat there and ate them. And I ordered 100 chicken nuggets and ate 70 of them. You didn't touch many of the nuggets.
70 nuggets, and I did. I
did.
was touching those nuggets. How are you going to tell me I wasn't eating those? It was 10 for $1.
You bring up a really good point here, though. I didn't realize the strat with the hash browns, because the hash browns are only 140 calories. I could eat 8 of these things and take off 4 hours, and that's only 800. Okay, not 8, it's 1,000 calories if I eat 8 of them.
You can't be in here thinking about health, looking at health in this. I think you do the big.
It's not about health. The calories is about how much I can consume without getting like sick or like getting slowed down. That's the key.
Oh, you're measuring it in calories? Oh, it has to be in poundage, brother. What are you doing? Calories.
What? Where does the poundage come into play?
It's just pure weight in your stomach for an eating contest. Have you never been in? You know what? No. Maybe you haven't. I've done the eating contests. I've done the 11 Jamaican beef patties in an hour. I've done the family size Stouffer's lasagna. Failed. I got 80% of the way. That was tough. I ate 4 pounds of lasagna. I've done the 60 Oreos in 60 minutes. Nightmare. R.I.P. Big Cat Fez Watley. Did it for you, big man. I've done these. I know what it takes. You have to really lock in. You have to be smart about it.
You forget that you and I did a different McDonald's challenge 3 years ago.
Yeah. I don't forget it.
And we both accomplished it.
I remember it. It was painful. You know what? I'm not giving you enough credit. You are 4 Patty Joe. Yeah. I know that you can do that if you need to.
I think that the hash brown method is I think that the hash brown method is the way to go. If I could eat 10 of those, off the rip, I think that's how we win this.
Okay, so this is a good challenge. I'm happy about the documentation. Yeah. I would like a live Twitter documentation also.
I'm gonna record it. I think that you bring it. I think I should live tweet it. That's a really good idea. That is a very good idea.
How is your beer challenge going? I know you had about 30 beers in your fridge that you were hoping to get knocked out when you got back to California. And just 30 to 40 iced down beers on what I would call the nicest weekend of all time, at least on my side of the country. You're sitting here, bunch of tasty beverages, iced down. How many have you knocked out before?
0.
Oh, okay,
0. I just got back. Okay, they're gonna get drank eventually. This is not as
no, they won't.
Pressing.
They will get handed to a neighbor saying, "Hey, do you want these? I couldn't finish them."
I hate that you're really. You know what? I'm
not wrong.
Up for this. I set myself up for this. You know what? You're right. I set myself up for this.
I want to see you drink these beers. You have to remember that. I'm not against you drinking these beers. I want to see it happen. I need to see it happen. Because I have the segment. I know where it is. I can pull this, and we're going to see a confident Joe DeLeone talking about beer annihilation when he gets back. On his return, no beer will be safe in California. And it seems like they're all just kind of sitting there coasting. You've developed.
I was trying to be a little bit responsible. I've been trying to cut back on drinking, and every time yeah, you know what? I need to accomplish this. I mean, it's real. It is a very doable thing.
I know it's nice outside there, man. I know it's nice outside. You could just pop one open. You could just pop one open.
Right now, I'm not doing that now.
Oh,
I'll do that. After this McDonald's thing is done,
you can't keep pushing this back.
Yes, I can. I got nothing the following weekend. Nothing's going on that following weekend. All right, at Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio, at Hack City Pod on Twitter, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you taking the time. Hit the subscribe button. Drop a comment. We'll talk to you later.